Hi, my name is Nick Julian, Sports Information Director at Finger Lakes Community College. I'm joined today by Steven Verbridge, head men's volleyball coach, for today's episode of The Lakers Blueprint.
So I am now on my second decade of coaching volleyball. I started as an assistant coach at the varsity level and then became the varsity coach for 6 years and then went and coached 7th and 8th grade and freshman volleyball. So I've coached basically every end of the spectrum, and now this will be year 2 here at the college level. So the talent gap is definitely something that is a lot smaller at the college level. The difference between you and the person that's vying for your starting role is definitely a lot smaller. We're a lot more deep when it comes to our roster than I ever was as a high school varsity coach. And from a coaching perspective, in terms of strategy and the rules, I think is the biggest change for me. And that the men's college rule book is a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and they've kind of compiled it all together to kind of make their own. So learning to adjust to those different rules was the big step for me in taking that next step as a college coach. We start right off the bat with a whole bunch of conditioning and what we would call team building, but we don't let them know that it's team building. They have to kind of find that out on themselves. And really the only way to get through that conditioning element is to have your teammate help you. And it usually takes them some time to catch on to that. And eventually what they don't realize is happening is not only are they conditioning, but they're learning to grow together as a family. Because first and foremost, for any successful team, your team has to grow together as a family. You're not always going to agree with each other. You're not always going to like each other. But in order to have the success that we want, we have to be together as a family, pulling the rope in the same direction. So we start right off the bat the first week usually with a lot of conditioning, a lot of mental games. We play like conditioning tic-tac-toe and things, and they really need to lean on their teammates in order to have that success. And their teammates then also realize that someone needs to lean on them in order to have that success. So it's that reciprocal effect of one helping the other. And it helps that that's happening organically so that they don't necessarily realize that's the point of what's going on. But usually by the end of the week, they've learned that their teammate's soon going to be their best friend. Pressure is a privilege to have, and that's something that is important for all of us to embrace, because in order to have that expectation means that as a collective group, we've earned that right. Now, maintaining that is obviously something that does come with pressure, but that's something that is a privilege to have, because every team in the country would like to be where we are. So first and foremost, accepting that, embracing that, leaning into that, and then learning that what we've done certainly is something that isn't broke, so we're not going to try to fix it, but learning to adapt and grow to make sure that we're not falling behind either, because every team is chasing us. So we got to make sure that we're pushing ahead just as hard as they're pushing to catch up to us. Having that experience before, whether as a coach or in the workplace, is certainly an experience that helps one. Being together as a family, like we talked about before, that's definitely something where knowing that your teammate has your back, but also your coach has your back. Or there's times where maybe I'm not the one that's the most composed, but I know my assistant has my back, or my teammates, our players have my back. So I think creating that chemistry even before you ever get into those situations is really essential to having the success you want, and making sure that in practice we're finding ways to simulate that pressure, so that when those sort of things happen in a game, it just becomes second nature, and it's something that we expect and we know how we can handle it ourselves, so that when it gets to that point, it's just another day at the office. I think first and foremost, keeping that expectation of what we have as a program and the standard that we have. We have quite a bit of new players coming into our program this year, and making sure that our returning players help establish what our expectation is day in and day out. And then at the same time, having those players that last year weren't necessarily leaders of the team because we had a big turnover, not as big of a turnover in the previous year, making sure that they're taking the step forward and becoming leaders. And they're helping to grow this new group of young men into a family, like we've talked about before. And if we do that and we are able to grow together as a family, you know, we're going to face adversity, but that adversity is not going to define us. What's going to define us is how we handle that and how we react to what is negatively happening. And that will hopefully propel us to success that we want as a team.
So, Coach, we've reached the rapid fire segment of the interview, and we'll kick it off with your favorite drill to run in practice.
Truffle shuffle would be my favorite. Constant motion, constant volleying, conditioning's built into it, and they'll be absolutely exhausted by the end of it.
What's one word to describe your coaching style?
Energetic.
Favorite athlete growing up?
Derek Jeter, but Roger Maris is still the favorite of all time.
Most challenging part of coaching?
Everything that doesn't deal with game day or practice.
Most memorable game moment?
Hard to top game-winning point of a national championship.
What would you say are the top 3 qualities of a great coach?
Honesty, ability to build relationships, and the ability to motivate the student athlete.
Favorite sports movie?
61.
And who is your coaching idol?
Phil Jackson or Joe Torre. Nice, calm demeanor, successful, something that I could learn a little bit from.
Perfect. Thank you for your time, Coach.
Thank you.